What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another great day for some of that lovely and juicy TA. So, the recent price action of Bitcoin has some of you guys on the edge. Some of you bears are shaking your boots, and some of you bulls are about to cream yourself. Hey, look, I get it. The market, let's just call it what it is. It's been in a crab market, for about a month, almost 5 weeks. So, seeing a little action gets us a bit excited. So, look, in this episode, I'll be talking about Bitcoin on a daily time frame. We'll be covering Bitcoin on a 4-hour time frame. I also want to clear up a few common misconceptions about options, and I'll be explaining why they are misconceptions. We'll also be, towards the end, we'll also be talking about Bitcoin and China, right? And how it's not really bearish, right, for a long term. It's quite bullish for the long term. All right. So if you guys enjoy this content, hit that subscribe, smash the subscribe. Let's go. All right. So Bitcoin on a daily time frame. As you guys can see, that day that we dropped to 28,000, right, June 22nd, this was a volume spike here, okay? We haven't had this volume ever since back in, late May. So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we haven't seen this amount of volume. So that's a good sign. When you have a balance with volume and, right, I'm saying and a follow through, the next day we did even go higher, right? We went above this wick. We closed higher than this wick. Right, so I'm gonna say yes. This is good follow through, right? People are still interested. It's not a fake out, right? Then that sets up for quite a extended bounce. And again, my targets for you bulls out there, I am seeing about 36,000, 37,000 as a range where we could get some bears coming back in, because we have these moving averages here, which is again the daily 21 and the 10 simple daily simple moving average. All right. So let me remind you, we are having Rsi Bullish Divergence on a daily time frame, and you can see here we are about to break the structure here. Okay, we were in an ascending pattern here, and these tend to fall through towards the downside, right? But we are seeing this already coming back up. So yes, this could be a fake out, right? This drop could have been a fake out, and we could get back to a higher RSI value, right? So let's take a look at some of these moving averages, right? We have 100% confirmation of death cross, but we also have the cyan crossing underneath the red, which is a 200 EMA. So 100 daily EMA crossing underneath the 200 daily EMA. Again, they're lagging indicators. It doesn't mean that we just drop here, but it's just something to look for, okay? Again, bears, you guys are still quite in control, because again, we are in the descending triangle, right? But as you guys saw with the market over here, every time we had rallies up, there were times when we went down, okay? Just how when we go down, there are times when we go up. The question is, how high do we go, right? And let me remind you, a friendly reminder, descending triangles are and will always be a bearish continuation pattern. Let's just go look at one of the most famous ones, right? Take a stroll through memory lane. Oh my God, it's a huge triangle, right? I drew this back in 2018, and I'm forever going to leave this here. Again, just because we have a descending triangle doesn't mean it always has to break down, but it is more likely that it does break down, because again, let me just remind you, every time we come towards the base, we go high, but we're going less high, right? We're making lower highs up until the market just crabs, and then we just puke it all out. Everyone just throws up, right? So again, let me just remind you, when you can't break the high that you made and you make a lower high, that is a bearish move. So how do we apply it to over here, this logic over here? Well, guys, if we break the previous high up here, which is around 41,000, you could say that this same triangle is invalidated, right? So if somehow we can get up here and break this high over here, this lower high, and make a higher high, I would say bears are back in control. And again, let me remind you, there is a lot of resistance level at these levels, right? The 40,000, 41,000, you have the 55, and you have the 200 EMA, the simple S at 200 SMA over here on the daily time frame. So those are going to be quite big resistances for Bitcoin if it wants to try to take out this lower high. Again, that doesn't mean, it's not always playing one side. You need to know what both sides are doing, okay? Because if you always want to go for one side, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You need to know what the other side needs to do to make it their side, okay? Again, let's take a look at the 4 hours, see if there's anything there. And wow, here we go. There is a battle here for this hypotenuse, okay? If we can close a daily above the hypotenuse, this will just basically give more percentage that this is, again, the base level is a support level. And let's just go back to the 4 hour. If we close this above this hypotenuse, it would say, yes, this hypotenuse could act as a basing area, and we could just have, you know, the bull party up from here. Again, these moving averages can slice like butter if the conditions are correct, right? But let me remind you, people can get exhausted. If you run a lot, what happens? You're going to start getting tired, right? You can see Bitcoin getting tired sometimes and just rolling over and dropping, you know, to the peers, okay? So let's talk about options now. Options, right? They're expiring tomorrow, the 25th. Now let me just break it down as simply as I can. When you take an options contract, you can act on it before the expiration, okay? Keep that in your mind. When you buy the options contract, you can act on it, right? You can cash it in, you can do whatever you want to it before this time, okay? So what typically people do is they will buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, Binance, they'll buy spot, okay? They'll buy 1 Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, whatever. And in doing so, they are longing Bitcoin indirectly, right? And so when they look at their charts, they're like, this is a bearish market. I think we're going to go to a bearish market. I want to reduce my risk and, try to hedge against it. Well, what they'll do is they'll buy a put option, right? And basically what that means is when Bitcoin goes down, these put options that they bought, they increase in value. And what they can do is they can sell them to other people who want to buy it, right? Because they think it's going to drop even lower, okay? And what happens is you can still profit when Bitcoin goes down, yet you still have your 1 or half a Bitcoin that you bought. And what happens is if they see a structure here that would imply that it's going to be bullish, they could cash out or cash in their option, right? And then they can just go on to Bitcoin. It just helps you directionally with managing your risk, okay? It does not mean that when June 25th hits that everyone in the world and their mother has to cash in on those options. It's saying that for that period, this is the last date that it will be honored, right? Options can expire worthless. You're not supposed to do that because, some people, they would forget, I guess, I don't know. But you have two things. You can act on it or you can roll it over to the next period, right? Which would be Q3. They can roll it over there. And yes, we will have monthly options expiring at the end of the month, right? This is just the one for quarterlies. Again, it's not that big of an event that people make it seem to be. It's just some boogeyman, and because a lot of us don't understand it, it just seems scary, okay? I promise you guys, it's not scary, and it doesn't imply that because the max pain is at 40,000, the price has to reach 40,000. I know a lot of YouTubers are doing that. It just makes for great, content because people think people are weird. I don't know, man. But that's pretty much it for options. That's how simple it is, right? You buy your options. You can do whatever you want with it. You have the ability to act on it or not act on it, right? If you want to just make it worthless, right? And again, these options aren't always the same price as Bitcoin spot. Like, you don't have to buy one for $35,000. I mean, look at these 17, 12. I mean, it just depends on what your position and lot size is, right? I won't cover that. You guys don't really need to know that for TA, okay? So the last thing I want to talk about today is Bitcoin mining and China. Yes, China has kicked out a lot of Bitcoin miners. They said, GTFO, we don't want you anymore. What's going to happen to those miners? They're just going to move, right? They can move their equipment. They can put them on a cargo plane and go somewhere else. And, most of them already did. And I wanted to show you that over 9% will be shut down. But let me tell you, they're just going to find a new home. They go to Texas. They go to Maryland. They go to other places in the world, Europe, Istanbul, Kazakhstan, wherever, right? They'll find a way because it's not like they just got all the miners shot them in the head and they're all dead now. That's how a lot of people think it's like for miners. That's not what really happened, right? They're just being shut down for a brief period of time. They're going to have to move, yes. And they did sell some Bitcoins because it does cost money to move, guys. It's not free, okay? They had to sell some Bitcoins so they could move their operations and start somewhere else. That's fine. So maybe in a month, we'll get all the hash rate back, right? And yes, when hash rates drop, prices tend to drop too. But let me remind you, the difficulty of mining is adjustable, right? It it reacts to how much hash power is on a network, and it can lower or get harder to mine Bitcoin. It's very dynamic. Again, a lot of people don't understand that, so I do want to tell you guys about that. But guys, that is all I have for today. I hope it was informative, and I hope it can help you guys make better trades or investments. And again, nothing I say here is financial advice. I'm just here for informational and educational purposes only. I love TA. I want to share it to the world, and I want to clear up as much misconception as possible. So if you guys enjoy this content, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hey, thanks for watching towards the end, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.